It's raining outside. Good thing I'm in this library. It's not the Miles Winslow Memorial Library. I know the Winslow Library from top to bottom, even though there's only one floor. Miles Winslow is generous, but only so far. This library is bigger and has many floors. And tons more books. Books are heavy, so tons of books doesn't necessarily mean lots of books. But there are lots of books. Lots of tons of books. I'm reading one of those books. It's about me. It's called The Girl Who Killed Everyone. It's not a very good book. I have a feeling I wrote it myself. There's a problem, though. The words keep jumping around on the page. There's one word in particular, painful, written in red, that keeps dancing around and wiggling its butt. I try to pin it under my finger, but it slips out and mimes laughing at me. Are you done with that book? My dad is sitting across the table. It's a big, fancy table made of some dark wood and all polished. The book looks small on the table. My dad is far away at the other end. It's a long table like you see in movies with rich people eating dinner at them. The table stretches further away, but my dad is right there across from me, maybe 5 feet. I'm confused by this table and my dad, but I can't explain why. The words keep moving, I tell him. That's because they're alive, he says. You have to kill them so they'll stop moving. His face starts to hang down off his head like a paper mask. He notices me noticing it and pulls it back up, then chuckles like he does. No, like he did, whenever he made a mistake and me or Mom caught him trying to cover it up. Mom calls it his whoopsie laugh. At least, she did. I don't want to kill anything. I look down at the words dancing on the page of my book. Lily and Samuel are holding hands and going in a circle around the word cucumber. I don't know why the word cucumber is in a book about me. My dad leans across the long table. His lower half seems miles away, but his face is right next to mine. But you're so good at it, he whispers. And then the chainsaw starts up. My dad makes a comical face like, oh no, with his mouth all round like a cartoon character's. I can hear the buzzing of the chainsaw before I see it, cutting up through the table from below. Sawdust and splinters spray up into the air and just keep going out of sight. My dad doesn't try to move out of the way of the chainsaw as it comes up beneath him. I can see it going up into his chest. He also sprays sawdust and splinters, except the sawdust is red and the splinters are bone. He laughs and blood comes out of his mouth. He's still right in front of my face, and I want to scream. I wake up. The sound of the chainsaw is still in my ears. I sit up from my spot on the floor of the treehouse and peek over the edge of the window. There's men in white hard hats standing out on the back lawn. A couple of them are using sledgehammers to punch through some of the walls still standing among the rubble of my house. One of them is at the bottom of the tree I'm up in, holding the chainsaw I was hearing in my sleep. Another one of the men turns and glances up in my direction. I duck. Hey, hold up! I hear him shout. Oh no, he saw me. There's some kid up there. Moments later, I hear someone grunting as they try to climb up the ladder meant only to hold little kids. Maybe it'll break under his weight and... No, of course it won't. I know it won't. Instead, the man who locked eyes with me's head appears in the doorway. His name is Doug, and he's going to eat macaroni for dinner tonight because his girlfriend broke up with him 2 weeks ago and it's all he knows how to make. He has a fridge full of food to cook, but it's all rotten because he only makes macaroni. I hate knowing these things. Doug looks around the room, taking in all my stuff. Several candles that smell like vanilla, a few burnt matches, and a dozen broken ones. A couple comic books in their plastic wrap so they don't get damaged while I'm not reading them. My backpack with a change of clothes in it, me, my sleeping bag, and my pillow. Hey there, he finally says. Do you live around here? Pull the top of my sleeping bag up to my chin. I live here.
Here? In this treehouse?
My father built this for me, I whisper. It's not entirely finished. There's a hole in the roof that I think maybe was supposed to lead to a second floor. Or he just wasn't much of a carpenter. I think about the fact that he never got to see me climb into it or smile and wave at him from the window. I hug the sleeping bag a little tighter. Doug scratches his chin.
You're that Maddox kid, aren't you?
Madwhip.
Do your parents know you're up here?
I feel my eyes swelling up. Stop that! They stop. I wipe them with the sleeve of my pajamas. My parents are dead. He looks uncomfortable. Suddenly he can't look me in the eyes. People don't like to see sadness in other people's faces. Unless they're villains. Then they eat it up. If you're ever crying and you look at someone and they're looking back at you and licking their lips, they're probably evil. I know Doug isn't evil, though. He just really likes macaroni. The construction people tearing down the remains of my old house aren't sure what to do with me. Thankfully, Jamal's mom comes out into their backyard wearing an apron that says I'm in charge and takes charge. She helps me gather my stuff and bring it down out of the treehouse, then takes me inside and lets me eat breakfast with Jamal in their kitchen. I never ate scrambled eggs before. Poor little baby chickens got all scrambled. Jamal gives me half a smile and watches me eat scrambled baby chickens.
It's not the same with you gone,
he tells me. It's not the same with other people gone, too. I don't say that, though. I don't know what to say, so I just say, thank you. Eventually, Detective Guthrie arrives and we leave in his unmarked police car. We don't talk. He knows I don't want to talk when I'm in the car. He keeps looking back at me in the mirror the whole trip. I wish he'd keep his eyes on the road. Not watching the road can lead to accidents. Trust me, I know. We get to the police station again to wait until my foster parents, the Lakes, can come get me. Yes, that's right. The Lakes are my foster parents. The same couple who fostered my friend Meredith before she burned their house down and got moved off somewhere far, far away. I have to go to sleep every night in a bed that should be Meredith's if we had never met. And if I hadn't killed her. I don't sleep, though. I just stare up at the glow-in-the-dark stars on the ceiling. They're blood stars. I wanted glow-in-the-dark stars on the ceiling of my bedroom, and now I have them killing the person they should belong to. I'm a monster.
Hey, can I ask you a question?
Detective Guthrie asks. He always wants to ask me questions, and usually they're dumb questions about his future, his family's future. Well, at least he actually believes me when I tell him things. I sigh.
Is Bart gonna make the baseball team this year?
Detective Guthrie's son is 14. He really wants him to be an athlete, but Bartholomew, that's his name, Bartholomew, doesn't like sports. He just tries out so his dad won't give him grief. I don't tell Detective Guthrie that. They really should just talk to each other. I shake my head. No. He looks disappointed and gets quiet. A police lady with blonde hair hurries past with a stack of papers. Her name is Jennifer, but she prefers Jenny. She is a Doberman doggy at home and likes to curl up with it and watch action movies. I close my eyes and think about brick walls surrounding me to try to shut out her life story running through my head. People always wander past me when I'm at the police station, and I get all the facts about them dumped in my noggin like a garbage truck unloading at the landfill. Last week, they brought in some old man who'd broken into an abandoned house on the side of town. I was sitting at Detective Guthrie's desk doodling with his ballpoint pen he borrowed from a post office and never returned. As soon as this old guy got cuffed to a chair across the office, I knew he had done other things worse than breaking into an empty house. I mean, breaking into a house is bad, but not as bad as the other things he's done, and I knew those things. I hate knowing things.
Oh, wait, I see.
I open my eyes again. Officer Jenny is right there by me with a look on her face like she just watched me peel a worm and eat it for a bet. "Hey, Guthrie, I see you got your little savant with you again." She smiles and winks at me. It's a fake smile. It's a real wink. You can't fake a wink. Detective Guthrie says,
"Don't call her that."
"Did you get an update on that stabbing over by Golden Hill?" She asks, suddenly quieter. I'm not supposed to hear her, but I can. The police office is not as loud this morning as it usually is. Normally, they've got like a hobo or two yelling bad words while they're being written up for public intoxication, or lots of phones ringing from people calling because they were rear-ended on the highway and need to report it. Guthrie can see I'm listening. He's pretty smart for an adult.
"Jenkins,"
he says, gesturing at me with his head.
"Keep your voice down."
Oh gosh, Officer Jenny's last name is Jenkins. Jennifer Jenkins. That's called an alliteration, where her first and last names start with the same letter. Sometimes late at night when they didn't think I was awake, I'd hear my parents talk about me and my brother Roger. My mom used to tell my dad that she was worried that Roger was illiterate. That's silly though. His first name was Roger and his last name was Madwhip. I blink at them both and shrug at Officer Jenny Jenkins. I saw a lady who was half snake get her head chopped off by a guy with a bowl for a head. Her eye twitches and she curls her lip at me, then turns and walks away. "Not the whole bowl, just the head," I call after her. Now, I want to know about the stabbing near Golden Hill. Golden Hill is where I went to elementary school. Detective Guthrie doesn't usually keep things from me, so if he's shushing Officer Jenny Jenkins, there must be something that he doesn't want me to know, and that makes me curious. Maybe someone finally snapped and killed Lisa Welch. That would be fantastic. So I sit there and stare at Detective Guthrie. He knows I'm staring, but he's trying to act like he doesn't. He flips through papers and puts paper clips on stacks of them. He has no idea how good I am at staring, though. I am a staring champ. If they had an Olympic event in staring, I would win the gold medal. My eyes don't seem to get all dried out and itchy ever. I don't know. Maybe it's another superpower, like being able to see things before they happen. Lily Madwhip, she can see the future and stare at you till you cry. Detective Guthrie suddenly pounds his desk. I don't even blink because I knew he was going to do it, and I think that frustrates him even more.
"You want to know about the assault at Golden Hill now, don't you?"
he says, gritting his teeth. I smile at him and nod.
"Look, don't read anything into this, but someone stabbed a 12-year-old girl. She's going to be okay."
No, she's not. He's lying to me. Was it Lisa Welch? I ask. Is Lisa 12? All the years of her bullying me, and I never knew her age. I forget not to sound excited, but I'm excited. The scar on my face from where Lisa cut me starts to itch. Maybe it's excited too. Detective Guthrie gives me the side eye. That's where you turn your head and look at the person out of the corner of your eye. Adults do it when they're disturbed or confused by what you said or did. Sometimes they put emphasis on it by squinting. Detective Guthrie gives me a big-time dose of squints with his side eye.
"I can't give you that information, but no,"
he says.
"You got beef with this girl, Lisa?"
I sigh and flop back in my chair. She's secretly the devil, that's all. I probably shouldn't say stuff like that because unlike most adults, Detective Guthrie believes me about angels and witches and maxitars and all that stuff that's happened to me months ago, and he might actually believe Lisa Welch is the devil and try to send her back to hell. That'd be good for the world, but bad for him. Lisa's dad would probably pull some strings and have him electrocuted or something. That's why he never complains about having to come get me when the lakes call to tell him I ran away again. He likes the opportunity to grill me about things other people think or just my imagination. Besides, I don't run away. I walk away. The lake's new home is across town from where I used to live, and running all the way home would be exhausting. What I really need is a bicycle. And thankfully, the lakes don't flip out on me like the people at the foster center used to. They know I haven't left town. I have nowhere to go. I could run away to live with my Uncle George and Aunt Harriet maybe, but they live in Maryland and I don't know how to get there. Also, Uncle George drinks too much ever since my cousin Susie got run over by a motorboat. While I'm thinking all this, Detective Guthrie gets up and wanders off to the soda machines. He likes to drink Pepsi. His wife doesn't like him drinking Pepsi, so he does it at work where she can't stop him. There's a folder on his desk and an edge of a photo is peeking out. It's like the photo wants me to notice it, and I do. So I slide it out with my finger to see what it is it wants me to see. The photo is one of those glossy kind they take of you every year in school with a blue background like you're actually flying, only you're clearly not because you're sitting down and smiling and there's no wind blowing through your hair. There's a girl in the photo. I recognize her. Her name is Gretchen. Was. I hear in my head. Her name was Gretchen, because the person who stabbed her made it count. I never knew her last name. I just knew her first name was Gretchen. And I knew that for some reason Detective Guthrie didn't want me to know about the stabbing or who it was that got stabbed. Because for years other kids would come up to me and call me Gretchen because we looked so much alike they kept getting us confused. The same crinkly brown hair, the same little nose and pointy chin. Heck, even I would probably confuse, as if it weren't for the fact that Gretchen's favorite color was cherry red and my favorite color is burgundy. Also, her eyes are actually hazel and mine are just brown, and her eyes also look happy because she had friends and pets and didn't have to see things before they happen, and when I look in the mirror, I just see all my dead pets and dead friends in my eyes. So someone stabbed Gretchen, and Detective Guthrie doesn't want me to know. That means he thinks the killer was after me. Because of course they would be. Who wouldn't want to kill me? Besides Jamal, I guess. And Detective Guthrie. Maybe it was Felix the Weasel. Maybe it's Samael. Maybe it's Ono, or oh my god, I have a rogue gallery like Batman.
Hey, what are you doing?
Detective Guthrie swats my hand away from the photo. I was thinking about Batman villains. He sighs and sets his Pepsi down.
You see why I didn't want you to know?
You think someone killed her thinking she was me.
I told you she's gonna be...
He sees that I know.
Look, Lily, we're gonna catch this guy. But until we do, you gotta promise me you won't run away from home anymore. Especially going over to your old address. It's not safe.
I promise. I lie. He tilts his chin and looks down his nose at me.
You think you don't know when you're lying to me?
Yes?
See, now you're being honest.
He sits down, cracks open his Pepsi, and slurps it. I heard Pepsi can eat through a battery if you leave it sitting there long enough. I imagine it eating through Detective Guthrie's stomach. I don't want him hurt or dying, but it'd be pretty funny if the front of his clean, white button-up shirt started soaking down from Pepsi coming out of his pores. Mrs. Lake arrives around lunchtime. She doesn't hurry down to the station like she used to when they first started fostering me. She knows at least I'm safe at the station. Detective Guthrie and she have a whisper talk over in a corner while I swing my legs in the swivel chair. I can't hear them, but he's probably telling her to lock the door to my bedroom, put bars in the windows, and chain me to my bed so I don't skip out in the middle of the night again. That's not fair. I only do it on the weekends. I'll probably do it again tonight and then not tomorrow since it's a school night. I understand the importance of getting an education.
Lily, sweetie, this has to stop.
Mrs. Lake tells me as we drive back to her house.
I know this is a very hard time for you, but...
She stops. She's going to say I'm not the only one grieving. I know that, of course. She and her husband really cared about Meredith. even though she'd gone to live with a different family after everything she went through with me and Felix. The Lakes are good people. So was Meredith. She was my friend who came to help me in that nasty maze without hesitation. And how did I pay her back? By burning her to a crisp with a pillar of angel fire. The only positive is I'm told it didn't hurt. Of course you don't want to tell someone grieving that they're not the only one doing it. That's just rude. When you're sad, having somebody tell you other people are also sad doesn't exactly make you feel better. It's like being lost and having someone see that you're lost and coming up to you and saying, "You're not the only one who's lost." "Oh, thanks. Yeah, that really helps me read this map." After thinking about it, Mrs. Lake decides to go with, "We don't want to lose another child." That's fair. "I won't do it anymore," I say. Mrs. Lake doesn't have Detective Guthrie's keen eye for whatever it is I do to give away when I'm lying. She's content to have me say I'm not going to sneak out in the middle of the night with my candles and my comic books and my sleeping bag and go try to communicate with my dead parents near the place where they died. Where I killed them. It doesn't really matter to her that I'm most likely going to do it again tonight, and hopefully the construction crew don't work on Sundays and I can just walk back home in the morning instead of get hauled down to the police station and have to tell Detective Guthrie that his son doesn't want to learn how to pitch a fastball. She's not gullible. She just wants to believe in the best in people. We get to the Lake's house and I take my stuff upstairs to the bedroom that should be Meredith's. Asher sits on my bed silent as a mouse. Good. He's always waiting for me on my bed, no matter where I put him when I leave. That used to make me happy. Now it just annoys me. I take him and toss him in the closet. I pull out the book I've been reading on seances. Seances are like calling dead people on the phone. You gotta sit in a circle and light some candles, and someone called a medium thinks really hard about someone who died and tries to get their ghost to come to talk to everybody. I know my parents are out there because they came and saw me in the hospital after the explosion. Roger communicated with me before that, and he was a ghost. Other people don't believe in them, but I know ghosts are real. The only problem is you can't sit in a circle when you're one person. It's like trying to draw a square with one corner. So to make up for the lack of other people, I've been trying other things like stuffed animals or bugs I've caught outside. Mrs. Lake keeps trying to figure out how all the stink bugs keep getting in my room. She's killed so many of my helper bugs that I'm afraid we're going to be haunted by their ghosts. Do bugs make ghosts? I bet everything has a ghost inside it. Mr. Lake comes home at dinner time. He works for the government. Also, he looks like Santa Claus, only younger. Well, he'd have to be younger because Santa's like 300 years old. Mr. and Mrs. Lake eat dinner on fold-out dinner trays in front of the TV, watching some show where people spend all their time at a bar and try to kiss each other. I think it's called Beers. I take my dinner to my bedroom. They tried to do dinner in the dining room when they first took me in, but it felt weird picking at my mashed potatoes in front of strangers. Now I get to read a chapter about spirit boards and eat a hole in the center of my hamburger to stick peas in it like a ball pit at Showbiz Pizza. After I'm done eating, I turn out all the lights. I waited until I was done because it's much easier to read and eat with the lights on. I tried eating in the dark once, but kept poking myself in the face with my fork. I wonder if blind people have that problem. It's time, I whisper. It's not actually time. It's only 7:13 p.m. Some books say you want to summon ghosts at midnight, but that's really late, and I always fall asleep trying to stay up that late. I'll try things out now, and if it doesn't work, I'll just wait until the Lakes are asleep and go try again in my treehouse across town and pray that I don't run into any lily stabbers. Also, I hope those construction guys didn't tear my treehouse down. My team is with me. Bun the Rabbit, Rugby Tiger, a sock I drew a face on with a magic marker who I named Sammy, and Freddie Lapel, a weird-looking blue cat I got out of one of those crane machines 3 weeks ago when the Lakes took me to a carnival. Freddie Lapel freaks me out. He wears a tie with no pants and his tongue is always sticking out. Ooh. I keep a box of matches in my underwear drawer because the lakes are too polite to go through my underwear. I get a match and strike it. And again, and again. It breaks. I get another one and strike it. After 6 matches snap in half, the 7th one lights with a hiss and a crackle. I think of Meredith as I watch the little flame. Even though her gift was fire, she didn't like it. You can't blame her. Her parents died in one. Of course, that was Felix's fault, but she thought it was hers for a long time. The match goes out. Not like the flame just dies, but there's a poof, like someone blowing on it, and the room goes dark. I hold my breath, thinking maybe it was me who blew on it by accident. Hello? I hear a girl's voice very close to me. She sounds familiar. This can't be right. I haven't started the ritual yet. I was too hypnotized staring at the match and thinking about Meredith. Meredith? I whisper. Is that you? I feel something soft touch my leg. It almost makes me jump. I reach down quickly to swat at it, but feel it's just one of the stuffies. Judging from the texture, it's Freddie Lapel. I sigh with relief. Then Freddie touches my leg again. Lily? Oh my god. Meredith's ghost isn't Freddie. Meredith? How'd you get in there? I don't know. Where am I? I was with my mom and dad, and then I felt myself getting pulled away, like arms tugging on my legs, and suddenly I feel weird and I can't see anything, and everything's dark. Where are we? Oh, that's because the lights are off. I get up and run over to the light switch by the door and turn the lights on. See? We're in my bedroom. Well, a bedroom. The little blue stuffed cat is wiggling on the floor. Its arms and legs don't bend, they just stick out, so it can't roll over or crawl or anything. She must have gotten to me by wiggling back and forth like a worm or a fish. I still can't see anything. I hear her voice coming out of the little blue stuffed head. Well, that's 'cause you're on your face, I say and pick her up. Meredith, I didn't mean to summon you. I was trying to summon my parents. This is good, though. I can finally tell you something. I'm sorry. I'm sorry I killed you. I hug Freddie Lapel with Meredith in him and try not to cry, but I'm not very good at not crying at times like this. I wipe my nose on the Stuffy's head instinctively before realizing that it's probably pretty rude, since Meredith is in there right now. Oh, I'm sorry again. I wipe the snot off. It's okay, Meredith says calmly. I'm not sure if she's saying it's okay I wiped my nose on her or I killed her. It's nice to hear your voice. I didn't get to say goodbye. Me neither, I whimper. So you get to be with your parents now? You're not all stuck in your bodies in graves? Well, no, we got no bodies left. Oh, right. Her parents burned up and got cremated, and I incinerated her. I can't really describe where we were. It's kind of like being out in a field on a sunny day where everything is so bright you have to squint, but you feel the wind and you smell the flowers, and your parents are holding your hands, and some of their parents are holding their hands, and you can feel their smiles on you, and it just goes on forever. I'm sorry I pulled you from there, I say. I want to go hold my parents' hands in a warm, breezy field. I wonder if Roger would be there too. He'd probably not want to hold hands. What if a parent doesn't like their kid? Having to hold their child's hand forever would probably be torture. I gotta stop thinking about this. You should go back to them. It was nice to have you here, though. Maybe I'll talk to you again sometime. You too, she chirps. I'm ready to go back. And I'm ready for you to go back. I gotta keep my voice down or the lakes are going to come up here and find me talking to my stuffies. Send me back then. Wait, what? I don't know how to send you back. We're both silent. I can hear laughter from the TV downstairs because the show The Lakes Watch is filmed in front of a live studio audience. I know this because they tell everybody this every episode. Beers is filmed in front of a live studio audience. I look over at the closet. This would probably be a good time to talk to Pasher. I don't want to do it, though. He said he'd always be here for me, but he also didn't approve of me studying the occult. The occult is a word for like magic and ghosts and Dungeons and Dragons. My dad used to have a bandmate named Steven something who said he joined a cult and then died when he drank something bad with a bunch of other people. Oh, fine, I'll ask him. I open the closet. Pasher? He doesn't respond, just lays there on the floor. Pasher? I repeat. Nothing. I know he's still gotta be there because if he was gone, I wouldn't still be able to see things before they happen. I wish I'd seen this before it happened. Meredith wiggles in my arms. Is Pasher not responding? Just give me a moment. I set Meredith down and pick Pasher up. I don't feel him inside like I normally do, but he's gotta be there. Maybe he just stepped away for a moment to use the bathroom or something. Angels gotta pee after all, don't they? Someone knocks on the bedroom door. Lily? It's Mrs. Lake. What? Is everything okay? Can I come in? No, I've got a box of matches out and a little blue stuffed cat wiggling on the floor with the ghost of your dead ex-foster daughter in it. I don't say that, though. I'm naked. Oh, she pauses. Why are you naked, honey? Oh, shoot, that's a good question. I am not going to answer that right now. Okay. She's quiet a moment, and then I hear her footsteps walk away down the hall. Lily! Meredith wiggles on the floor. What are we going to do? I have no idea.
Good evening, kids. It's me, MrCreepyPasta, and I wanted to tell you thank you so much for watching tonight's video. If you guys are looking for a nice hot beverage to enjoy while listening to scary stories, or if it's still snowing out where you guys are, because I keep seeing that everywhere, then might I suggest you check out etsy.com/shop/ivorymonocle tea. It's my wife's tea shop. She has numerous different teas that you can be able to get, as well as Dungeons & Dragons and Creepypasta themed teas. And if you ask for the Mr. Creepypasta dabbing sticker, if you get a Mr. Creepypasta Dark and Stormy Night tea, then you get the special little sticker that I threw together. And of course, I want to give a very, very, very big shout out to all of my followers on Patreon, especially Bloodlace, Peter Bowie, AcidSystem, F, Alan Hyper, Brennan Matthews, Mary Massacre, Janine Hook, Paul Livingston, Seth Joseph Richards, Ashlyn, Deadeye Nick, Azad Hosenbokus, Rick Dance, Bryce Charles, Luminen Walker, Sheri Morgan, Jake Mcnee, Victoria Helton, BDH9294, Melinda S, Phinney, Nathan, Dante Rowe, Jane Rennalls, AceBandg, Ryan Kellum, Bobby J. CAVANAUGH, Barbara Biggs, BellaBailey, Ninja Grace, Dad Obsessed Trash, Suzanne Grow, Tommy Walters, Tater Chip, Onbu Op Willie, Sarah Gree, Yuri Catslash, Randy, Brad Gustafson, Sean Tristan Markham, B. Lisa Tyser, Jose Rodriguez, Adagio Rose, Peaceful Buddha, Azarine Fox, Freddy Krueger, Ho Gunkchi, Justin Johnson, King Hades F13, Michael Scarborough, James Lowe, Someone You Love, Nina Smith, Rafael Rodriguez, and Chance Burnett. You guys, as always, are the real MVP, and I can't thank you enough for helping me get to where I am now and, generally keeping me alive. So thank you all so much for supporting on Patreon. Thank you everybody in the description for supporting on Patreon. And thank you everybody out there who's listening and watching somewhere across the many reaches of the internet. Have a good night and sweet dreams.